to the second edition of the Ask Me Anything with the CEO. Last week we were talking about beyond salary. We're talking about beyond salaries. What are the other remuneration options? The discussion was very interesting, and a lot of you requested that we bring in an expert who can help us to understand the various investment options that are available. Fortunately, we did not get one person, but got two capable ones who have years of experience in the banking sector and the investment sector. And so Lambert will join us very shortly, but we have Gabby with us here. So I'll allow Gabby to introduce himself briefly, and then we get into the discussion. So Gabby.
Yes, boss.
You are welcome to the program, and we are happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, boss.
Very good. Fortunately for us, you were on the call last week, at least for the greater part, so you are likely to recall some of the things that people asked and they wanted to learn more about. So tell us something brief about who you are.
All right, thank you. I'm the operations manager. It's a also branch, and I'm also an entrepreneur who is the co-founder of the Frank Gabby Company Limited, producers of Frank Gabby Tom Brown. I also have a foundation called Gabby Outreach for Children. So briefly, that is Gabby. Can you hear
Good
me?
to have you, Gabby.
Gideon?
Yes, you are very clear. And thank you for introducing yourself. So last week we spoke about the various options available beyond remuneration. We know that especially after COVID, where there is a very steep dive or downturn in economic activities, everybody is looking for alternatives. So now from where you sit and your experience in the banking sector and the investment sector, how can individuals liberate themselves a bit? I'm using a bit loosely. How can they liberate themselves a bit from the economic pressures that everybody is facing, relying solely on what we receive from our employers at the end of the month? Are there even options to start with?
Okay, thank you very much. I believe it's very, very dicey, and it depends on individuals and what your vision is and where you want to go. If you can recall, I think last week you are taking, I'm just making a scenario. I may not be able to get the exact words that you use, but you're making a scenario that, assuming that somebody is taking maybe 2,000 cedis and one is taking maybe 500 cedis, but the one who is taking 2,000 cedis is not able to save at the end of the day. But the one who is taking 500 cedis is able to save maybe 300 cedis. If you are to weigh the two, who is on the top? Averagely, all of us will say that the 300 cedis is doing well, because the one who is taking 2,000 cedis is not able to save or get anything at the end of the month. The reason being that when the person is paying for, the person is maybe where he's staying is very maybe expensive, all these things are factors which at the end of the day, they are going to pay for it. But I believe that those who are in the financial sector, or whether you are into a payroll, the most important that one needs to do is that, one, at the end of the day, whatever that you are getting, you should be able to save a little money somewhere. Gideon, can you hear me?
You are very clear. You are very clear.
All right. Any amount of money that you are receiving, wherever sector that you are in, you should be able to save a little money somewhere. Without that, Gideon, there is no way that you can make it. Why am I saying? One, assuming that now I'm bringing a case study. Now you are taking 1,005 cedis. Maybe you are in the, maybe whether in the which institution that you are find yourself in, you are taking 1,005 cedis at the end of the month. And at the end of the day, you are not able to save any amount of money at the end of the month. You cannot do anything. So it is very, very important that we, the employees or employers that somebody has employed us to work, you should be able to save money somewhere. Gideon, let me give you I have a calculator here. I want to calculate it for you. You are able to save maybe 200 cedis a month. 200 cedis a month times 12 is 2,400 Ghana cedis. And if you're able to save this money at the end of the year, it's a bonus money for you, 200 cedis a month. It depends on the amount of money that you are receiving. We should be able to discipline ourselves that at the end of the month, I should be able to save some money somewhere that I'm not going to touch it. If you're able to do that, these 2,400 cedis times 5, for 5, if you have 12,000 Ghana cedis, you have 12,000 Ghana cedis. With this 12,000 Ghana cedis that you have, if you want to start something outside what you are doing, you can use it. Because this is the small money that you've also saved somewhere. And at the end of the 5 years, you're able to save something. Some people have worked for more than 10 years. They don't have even 20 cedis or 30 cedis, or maybe, let me put it, maybe 2,000 cedis elsewhere. They don't have it. If you ask them that, please, you've worked for 10 years, 20 years, there's an emergency, can you get 5,000 in your account? Some people don't have it. Why? They don't have a saving culture. So the question that you ask, in order to help all of us able to make it to the another world, you should be able to save, because other than that, there is no way that you can make it. That is my first point. So you can ask the next question, then I can just come in.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So at least the first step is all of us should be able to save, no matter how much we are receiving. So
for sure,
the lock is on that one. But then you were stipulating a 5-year long savings, right? So if I'm doing 200 cedis a month, that gives me 12,000 Ghana cedis in 5 years.
Yes, please.
But then now,
sure,
let's talk about the face value of the of our savings against inflation. Should I just be putting that money into my bank account, or there's a way of also kind of hedging the value of that savings against inflation and other things?
Thank you very much, Gideon. I would advise that you put that money at the bulk for that 5 years. No, we have a long-term and we have a short-term plan. So you have a long-term plan, but you can still have a short-term plan. Now, if you are putting 200 cedis, I just make 200 cedis for maybe for average people, maybe ordinary somebody who can make maybe 2,000 cedis, 200 cedis at the end of the month. Somebody can pay 500 cedis. Somebody can put maybe 1,000 cedis at the end of the month, depending on your salary, on what you are earning at the end of the month. So assuming that you are taking 500 cedis, assuming that you are taking 500 cedis at the end of the month, no, 200 cedis at the end of the month. For the 5 years, is 12,000. Now, 200 cedis times 12 is 2,400 cedis. Now, use the 2,000 cedis for fixed deposit or treasury bill, because that one is going to give you another interest. Because if your account is on the savings account, you may not get on that account. There's no, like, at the end of the year, you have 2,000 cedis, it's 2,004. But the reason why I said that use 2,000 cedis for the event, because you might not know what the emergency that will happen. So that 400 is a backup money for you, that in case emergency, you can rely on a problem for you. So in 2004, you use 2,000 cedis for investment. Whether we have a lot of various investments, it depends on where you want to go. I don't want to mention any investment because of where we are, because everybody believes where he or she wants to go and invest his money. So you need to get a reliable financial institution, or a reliable brokers, a reliable investment package that you think that you trust. When you go there, you can get a return at the end of the day. So when you do that, after the money has also is increasing, you are already contributing your 200 cedis daily every month, because that is the plan. So after the second year, the 2,000, because you already have 2,000 investment somewhere, and because it's every 3 months, in the interest will accrue on it, because something roll over. When the interest comes, you don't take the interest, you add up to the money. So in 3 months, for three quarters, because each 3 months is 4 quarters, yeah, 4. First 3 months, second 3 months, third 3 months, and the fourth 3 months. So for these 4 months, 4 quarters, you have an interest on the amount that you have saved. So the second year money, you add that to the principal and the what? And the interest. You are not going to get the 4,000 anymore, because you already have interest on the 2,000 you've already saved in the investment account. Gideon, are you with me?
Yes.
So
we are following.
At the end of the day, you realize that at the end of the 5 years, you are not going to receive that 12,000 anymore, because you have saved some of the money into an investment account, or you've made the money into, you have invested the money into what? Into a broker. So at the end of the day, you are going to get what? Interest out of it. It's one of the strategies that you can do. That is it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gabby. So for those that just joined, we are talking about beyond remuneration, what we can do, right, as other sources of income or options to keep ourselves going. 2 things have come out now. Our resource person, Gabby, has reiterated that we need to save, no matter how much we are receiving, save. Okay. Then have a long-term plan. And so the long-term plan, let's say, is 5 years, right? Don't keep all the bulk money in your bank account for the 5 years, but use some of the bulk money to buy mutual funds, right?
Treasury funds, bills, yes. Fixed deposits.
Yeah. But don't use all the savings to also buy those. You should always have a contingency fund, right? And that's very key. Keep a contingency fund. I've gotten a number of requests from friends before, where the person say, oh, I have some money in fixed deposit that's not matured yet. but I need this amount of money, and the amount that the person needs is very small, right? So like Gabby is saying, if the person had some contingency money also, that would have been easier for the person to follow. So save, invest, keep a contingency fund. Now, let me come back to you, Gabby. You have mentioned fixed deposits. You have mentioned treasury bills, and you said other mutual funds. Beyond this one, because I think that these are the risk-free or investments with less risk, isn't it?
Sure.
Yeah. Is there another level of investment that might give us better margins, but also with a lot of risk?
Definitely, they are numerous. But you see, Gideon, most at times, those some of other we are in the financial institution will say that when it comes to the investment, assuming that somebody want to invest into a high, maybe a bigger amount of money, let me put it maybe 10 million, 5 million, 7 million. It depends on the value of the money that you want to invest. We have brokers who are also experts in international investment. We have a local and we have what? We have local ones and we have international ones. We have the government bond. Yeah, we have it. When you go to the Ghana Stock Exchange, they are there. We have brokers who are there to advise you about where to invest, where not to invest. There's an investment, when you do it, you are going to lose all the money, irrespective of the amount. You are not going to get a partial money. You are going to lose everything. So it is very, very imperative, very, very important that any investment that one want to do, you need to get a good advice. Because it's not about it's about searching high risks, because some are very high risk, but at the end of the day, you are going to get your money. It's very high risk. I don't want very high on the day. If you have that heart that, oh, whether I lose it, I don't care, then you know that when you win, you win. When you lose everything. So that one is also there. Which that one, I think, before you invest such an amount of money, you need to get a broker, somebody who can advise you to search very well, whether you are going to buy from somebody. Most of the time, people have their money, they have maybe a bond, they want to sell it to somebody. You need to know whether this one I'm going to buy, is it going to be a profit for me or not? You need to look at all these things.
That's very laudable. Thank you for sharing that. If you want to do high risk and the amount involved is also high, and you don't have the skill or knowledge or the insight to do it, then it's better to get a professional assistance. Is that not the case?
That is it, please.
Yeah. Okay. So assuming that I have the means, I've saved some amounts, right?
Okay.
What would you advise? Do I go in for the mutual funds and treasury bills, or I should go in for the shares and other high risk kind of investment?
Come again, Gideon, come again.
So like, you've spoken about the investments with low risk, right? Like the treasury bills, the fixed deposits, and other mutual funds, right? And then you've spoken about also the shares, and then those with high risk, right? And I'm saying that if I have money right now, let's assume that I have say 20,000 right now, where do I advise I put it? Into mutual funds
Okay.
or into the high risk one?
Okay, I think 20,000 is a average, is a normal, is a cool. It's the rate is not all that high. I think 20,000 is okay. But now the rate for treasury bill is very high. And now if you look at the government treasury bill, is very high. So now, Gideon, the reason why most of the times people they don't search before you want to. I remember just about a few months ago, a friend called Charlie, I have some here. When you go and invest here, it's going to help you. And quickly, the person went and withdraw the money because the money was sitting idle in the account doing nothing. The person quickly, that day I spoke to him, the person went and withdraw the money because I told him that this place, their interest is very high, so go there. And there's no high risk because I know them, it is very cool. So before currently, because of now the structure the government has put in place, now most of the institutions, I think they are doing well because you cannot take somebody's money and you see that at the end of the day, the money, like your company has collapsed and you're not going to get the money for the person. I think now people are conscious of those things. So now currently the government treasury bill is high and the fixed deposit is also very high. These are the areas which are very low rates, which at the end of the 3 months, you can get your money and you are safe. There's no risk on the treasury bill. There's no risk in the fixed deposit. I think you can go there, it's risk free, and it depends on where you are going to do it. So I think these are the two places. As for now, I can say that the risk is very low.
Yeah, thank you very much. So if you are starting, right, it's just like swimming. You won't go deep diving when you are a new swimmer. So if you want to play safe, do the treasury bill, do the fixed deposit. But there is something that Gabby said, which I think is very important. If you don't have the know-how, please always seek advice. All right. And
sure.
Like Gabby just said right now, the friend simply called him because he knows that he is in the financial sector and he understands what is good to invest in. So we can also have a network of friends who understand these things, and you can frankly tell them, I have this amount. What do you advise I do? And then the person can provide the support. So that's very important. I think that Gabby, there is something I did not ask earlier. We've been talking about low risk and high risk. I think there might be some people on the call who do not understand these terms in the financial sector. What are the low risk and then the high risk? If we say that, what do we mean?
The question again, please.
So I'm saying that we've been talking about high risk investment and low risk investment, but there probably might be some people who do not understand these terms. So if we say high risk and low risk, what are they?
Okay, thank you, Gideon. When we say the high risk, when you invest that money there, and the government or where the company or the institution or the broker, whatever, that you invested the money there, if they're not getting, at the end of the day, they did not get any profits, it means that everything is off. Because it's out of the interest that they are going to get as an institution, that they are going to share the money among those who bought the shares there or who bought those things there. So at the end of the day, if you're not going to get anything out of that, it means that your money is gone. And Gideon, every share or terms and condition. Like now you've done maybe 3 months, you have interest of maybe maybe 1,000 Ghana cedis, just as in 1,000 Ghana cedis, because you're going to get your full interest. So they will divide the money into two, and the company will take one and they'll give one to you. But that one is on the interest, not on the principal. It is on the interest, not on the principal, because the interest that you are going to get money, the interest that you are going to earn, they are divided into what? Into two. So they will give you half, depending on the months that you spend. Are you with me?
Yeah. Yeah.
So on that one, you can see that the rate is what? It's very low, because at the end of the day, you get something small out of it. But where other places that at the end of the day, you're not going to get anything, you are going to lose even the principal amount that you have also invested, you are going to lose everything. That one is very high. That one is very, very, very high. So I think, as I said earlier on, before you do any mutual fund, any other institution, you need to know the terms and conditions. If at the end of the day, I'm not going to wait for my test, maybe 5 years, I said I want to, the bond is 5 years. If you are able to wait for the 5 years, you are going for the money. Are you going to get partial money, or what? If you want to withdraw partial, look at it. And I think you might not even like it, and you might think that maybe they've cheated you or not. So I think we need to look at it critically.
Thank you for sharing that as well. So anytime you want to make an investment from any institution, check the terms and conditions. That's very important. Other than that, you might feel that you've been cheated, but then you signed for it. Those are very golden to have shared, Gabby. Thank you for that. Okay, now let me be generous, right? Not taking charge of all the questioning. For all those on the call now, if any of you has a burning question to ask, please, you can just either raise your hand up or just unmute yourself and ask. Anyone with a question regarding what has been discussed? Or if even it has not been touched on, but it's something that you want to understand.
All right.
Okay. No hands coming up yet. So Gabby, well, I know that you have a deeper understanding of what happens in the investment and financial world. And most of us here are startups, right?
Okay.
Any other advice you want to give? Oh, okay.
Okay.
Before you go on, Pontius has a question. So let's take that first, then you do that.
Okay.
Thank you very much. My question has to do with the, we just said that the Bank of Ghana has raised the monetary policy rate by 300 basis points. What impact has that got on those of us who wants to make investment decisions? I don't know if you understand my question.
I get you. I get you. You see, the BOG is the mother of all the financial institutions, and you can see that most of the financial institutions, their rates are not the same. Whether all even their packages is not the same, because depending on where you are getting your money from. Please, are you getting me?
Yeah.
I'm getting you.
Yeah. So For Bank of Ghana to raise that ratio, it depends on the various financial institutions to also do their calculation very well. Because at the end of the day, if you don't do your calculation very well, you are going to be at the bottom line, because it's a free range, it's a road that everybody is going. You need to know where you are going, whether you're on the left or you're on the right. So if you don't position yourself very well, at the end of the day, you are going to be kicked off. So it depends on the financial institutions to also strategize their things. If you remember last year or last 2 years, there was a base rate that was low. The Bank of Ghana reduced the base rate. But financial institutions were still keep on increasing their base rate, because they realized that most of the money they go outside and borrow the money is very high. If you go to the international market and borrow money at a higher rate, you think on that one, just leave it now, because they just said it. Let's give ourselves some time, and I think it will be in the right. It will come out clearly for everybody to understand it.
Okay.
Is your question answered?
Yes, it's answered. Thank you.
Okay.
Right. Thank you, Pontius, for asking the question, and Gabby for giving such convincing answers. Anyone else with a question? Burning question for Gabby? Okay, then Gabby, I think you can now proceed with what further advice you have for those of us who are starting and are interested in investing.
All right. My advice that I would give to those who are starting, I think I wanted to say something that maybe if based on those who are on the salary and those who want to, apart from salary, what else can you do? Apart from salary, what else can you do? If you are also a startup, what can you do? As I said, you need to check the money that is coming into the business. The money that is coming into the money that is coming to you is not for you. It's not a money that you if you were that somebody gave you a contract, and the contract amount was maybe 20,000 interest. You don't do that into there's somebody who on the two. There's buy a lot of cars. So I told him that, bro, what you are doing is not nice. It's not right. Don't do that. He didn't mind me. Now the business has collapsed because that is the business man that using for the maintenance. Meanwhile, the interest that is coming out of the business is not so huge. So I believe those of us who are startup business, we need to be very careful and focus and plan very well. I keep on telling people that when you don't build a strong foundation for the business collapse. You need to build a strong structure for your business, a strong structure. And the business should not be only based on only you. Most of the business that doesn't work is that because the business is centered on only one person. So if the person is sick, the business is gone. If the person is not around, the business is gone. Build structures. When you build the structures, the business will grow because the structure will help you to grow the business. Anybody who want to maybe partner with you, anybody who want to come and invest the money into the business, the person will know that the structures are working. So I believe the startup people should be able to know that when they are starting the business you are doing, the money that is coming, you don't eat all the money. You don't eat all the money. So Gideon, that is my first point.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Gabby, for sharing those golden nuggets. Certainly, if you are considering other streams of income, the better one you can have real control over is starting your own business. Like Gabby has said, then you need to give that business a very strong foundation to survive. Now, Maxwell, do we have Lambert on the line?
Yes, sir. He's on a phone call, so he can talk now. Yeah.
Okay, Lambert, good evening.
Good evening, boss.
I hope you are doing well.
Yes, I'm doing so well.
Right. Sorry for the technical hitch, but we still have about 6 minutes more to hear from you. So can you briefly introduce yourself, like 30 seconds to us?
Okay. My name is Lambert. I currently work with Absa Bank as a personal banker. I worked with the bank for past 10 years. I just joined Absa Bank. I'm with my business. I'm a investment banker. I do investment advisor for about 10 years, and I moved to the same bank. So basically, married with that.
Yeah, that's a strong profile. A decade of experience in the medical institution. That marriage is pregnant, right? So we want you to share that with us. Now, with your experience in the financial sector, both at the purely investment side at Data Bank and now as an investment banker advising people, we have a host of startups on this call, and then people watching on YouTube that are thinking of making their money also work for them. Because now you know what we are receiving from our employers, they aren't enough. But what can we do? So we want your general advice. What do you advise that we do?
Okay, the general advice is that saving is very important. Saving is one of the things that you as so if you don't save, I mean, it's difficult for you to get up for your emergency needs usually arise. So we advise everybody, as a young anybody who wants to the habit of saving. So in another point of sense is that you don't get the money in the money account, the bank will make money and you give you money. So I mean the advice is that when you want to save, you look for an emergency fund because the purpose of it you are saving towards an emergency. Anything happens to you within the shortest possible time, you can have access. But you need to make sure that that money that is not accessible enough so that anytime you run out of credit, your girlfriend is asking for anything, you can just dump your hand in it. So an investment fund. Those ones are called money market funds. One of the money market, typical money market fund is credit note. Then we have what we call promissory notes. We have the commercial paper. So once the commercial paper and the promissory notes, those ones are combined into a mutual fund. So you look for a mutual fund that invests in the money market so that, I mean, anytime you need the money, you can just walk in, take your money without any charges or any, difficult. So, your objective for investing towards making is to have the money accessible anytime you need it. So you don't just look for any investment, you put the money in an equity. You have what we call equity. Those ones are difficult to withdraw when you need it. And because they are invested into the equity market, like I said, by rather investment. that takes a long time for you to be able to buy. You can just walk into any bank, especially those banks that are listed in the stock market, and buy shares. So buying shares in those companies is also another form of investment. And then you are looking to look at all this balance. You are investing to have a short-term need, have a long-term need, have a medium to long-term need. So you need to sit down and strategize yourself. You need all these investment plans so that you'll be able to plan yourself from the short term, the medium to long term, and the long term. That helps you to invest towards your retirement. Because what we receive now is legal. When you go to the market, you want to buy things, all the salary that you pay, you can just buy everything that you want. Remember, what we have now, the economic result is not favorable. We have an inflation that's been around 31%, and 31% of inflation for a state is the West. Overnight, people now. Very wide now. So government, Moody's, and all the credit where these companies have downgraded us. And so what we need is the government itself is trying to very difficult to borrow out of the country where we used to go and get the Eurobonds. So now we need to look at the investment environment. The opportunities available to you now is to invest into the fixed income market, like the physical, the bonds, because that is what government has the ability to do now, because you can't go like this, go the euro market, because now they are downgraded. So interest rates are going to be so high. The government wants to borrow in there. So they're taking the opportunity to borrow in locally. So now we also take the opportunity to borrow, because now judges will be doing around 27, 28 next month. And that's a good investment. Your money in there. So you don't have the whole fund by principle, by mutual funds where you can put 100, 200 things. You also take the opportunity invest this time of a high interest rate. Basically, that's what I have, because I have limited time to go on. I can go on and go on and go on.
Yeah, and it's been very great, because it's interesting. You weren't on a call, but you are reiterating all that Gabby has told us, right? So, guys, our guest speakers, Gabby and Lambert, have outlined what could help us to secure our future, right? First point, we all need to save, right? Gabby mentioned that, Lambert has emphasized that. And then we need to have the contingency fund, right? Where we can easily convert back to cash to solve our critical needs. They've all mentioned that if you want to get into the shares and other high risk kind of investment, seek professional advice. Lambert said that walk into the banks to provide the help. Gabby said that there are professionals around, and as well as the banks. Please reach out to these ones so that you do not lose your money, right? And then, like Gabby said earlier, there are always T&C, terms and conditions. That one, if even you are buying a mutual fund, or you are buying a treasury bill, or you are buying a share, whatever you are doing from any of the organizations, ask for their terms and conditions, so that at the end of the day, you might not feel cheated when they are implementing it. So yes, thank you very much, Gabby, and thank you very much, Lambert, for being with us. We will surely come back to you so that you can continue to share more with us. Gabby, any final words you want to share?
I think I want to thank my senior fellow. I think he has said it, or even it's like, you see, God is good. You see, Lambert was not on the line, but you see, all that I've said, he has just added up to it. It tells you that it is very, very important to seek proper advice when you are going to make an investment. And I believe we need to do that. Thank you very much.
You are most welcome, and then we are happy to have had you. Is Lambert still on the call?
I'm on the call.
Oh, okay. In 30 seconds, final words. Yeah.
I'm asking Gabby actually advise anybody who wants to enter into very, very nice. And you should also know your limits, whether you can take risk. You can't take risk, you don't go to the equity market like the more than debt. So you need to go to that fixed income or money market. Because those ones are highly volatile. So the only time you can't take the risk. You need to know yourself. Know that okay, this is why you don't just go and do investment because everybody get that is what you do, because it can turn around in a negative way in the shortest possible, and if you don't have the heart, you cannot do that long term to be able to accommodate mortality. And if you can't, so you can still go. And the recommended fund for you when you are doing investment towards your retirement for fixed income products that have a balance of sometimes fixed income and money market. Sometimes they also have equity in it. A few percentage of equity and then fixed income. Call it a balance fund. That's what you can invest towards your retirement.
Yeah, I think Mr. Barefoot's internet went off. So
All right.
okay.
All right. So thank you very much for your time, and thank you for the insights that you've shared with us. Me personally, I've picked one or two that work with, especially where you want to embark. Some of these things you need to go for expert advice. Thank you, and thank you for also joining. And next week, you also have same time next week. You also have another edition of AMA. But prior to that, we'll share the form so that you have any question you can share with us, and then we will, through the program, address them. Thank you very much for your time, and then have a good evening.